Hi, welcome back. It is good to see you. I hope you are having an awesome summer, doing all the fun things, maybe doing all the fun creative things. I know I am. We are dyeing yarn today. Surprise, surprise. And this week I wanted to make something inspired by Wednesday, the series Wednesday, which is, I think, second season drops today, the same day as this video goes live. So I'm going to be dyeing on some fingering weight superwash merino. I have prepared 4 100-gram skeins. So we're doing something Wednesday inspired. Not quite sure what yet, but I'm thinking there will be some black, some silver, light gray something, maybe something blue, because since I'm dyeing this prior to the series being released, I'm not able to to both film and edit and do all the things the same day, so as the series drops. So I'm basing this off of the trailers that I've seen, and I'm seeing some bright blues in that trailer as well. So black, light gray, silverish, and bright blue is the inspiration for this week's yarn dyeing experiment. Let's see what we can make. First things first, we need to soak the yarn. I have got my citric acid here. I have got 2 measuring cups of cold water holding 2 liters each, so it's 4 liters total. And my large soaking tub, since I got 4 100-gram skeins, I want them to have proper room. And I'm adding a tablespoon of citric acid into the soaking tub. And we're just adding the water. Like so. And I've added the reusable zip ties to each skein, so I just grab them by the skein or by the zip ties, and like so. And we are putting it in the soaking tub. There we go. I'm just pushing down the yarn to make sure it all gets soaked properly. We don't want anything to be dry when we start adding our dyes. Okay, now we're getting there. And I'm going to let it sit in the tub for at least half an hour, maybe a little longer. So I want all of the yarn to be properly wet all the way through. So I'm going to give it a moment to soak up all the water. There we go. I'm letting it sit for a while, at least half an hour like I said, and then we'll be ready to dye. All right, let's see if we can do this. I have got some dyes here. My plan is to make a true black and in one of the measuring cups, and in order to do that I need to account for the fact that the yarn is white. If I use only black dye on white yarn, it will turn out gray, light gray. We will be mixing that in one of these measuring cups because I do want a light gray or silvery gray for one of the colors, and I want a true black, which means we need to mix together with the black. We need to have some yellow and some blue and some pink in this case to make it a true black. And in addition to that, I want to sprinkle some bright blue also on top of this. That's the plan. let's see if we can make it work. So first of all, yarn has been soaking for a couple of hours now. It's ready to go. I've got my dye pan over here, got my citric acid here in the back, old yogurt container with cold water and a spoon in that I can just use to poke the yarn. I've got my face mask, of course, to protect my airways, some gloves, and I've got my handy dandy little milk frother mixer thingy, some teaspoons, only used for dyes, of course, my measuring cups. Right now I've got about 400 milliliters of water, cold water in each of them, but I will be filling them up to the top, which is 2 liters in each. Once I have mixed the dye, it's just easier to mix the dye when it's not too much water in the measuring cups. And today we will be working with Jacquard acid dyes in jet black and in sun yellow. And we'll be using Pro Chemical and dye in hot pink and sky blue. So yeah, let's get started. First of all, mask on. And next we are going to mix up. Let's start with the blue one, because I want to see exactly how bright it is. That's what it looks like in the container. And I'm going to grab, what's that, a third of a teaspoon maybe. I'm going to add that to the water. And we'll see how bright blue is that. Yeah, I think that would be good, because I'm planning on using this blue to sprinkle with afterwards. Okay, let's set that aside. And we'll grab some yellow. Same thing here, about a third of a teaspoon. Let me see, can you see that? About a third of a teaspoon. And we're going in with the pink. Something like that. And we're adding that into the pot. And finally, we're going to use the jet black. I just need to rinse my spoon a little here, because I only brought 3. Could have done with 4. Let me dry it off so I don't put a wet spoon in the dye powder. All right. And we are adding in the black. And I'm going to grab about half a teaspoon of that. Okay. And now we mix. See what I'm doing? Okay. We will be adding some more water into that measuring cup. But before we do that, I'm going to add in some just black dye. And I'm going to go for, let's see, well, we can do half a teaspoon of that one. And we'll add that in as well. And blend it. This does also look very, very black, but it won't be when we add it to the yarn. So I'm just going to mix up these dyes properly, make sure there are no clumps of powder that hasn't been dissolved. And I will add more water and we'll get ready to dye. We're getting ready to dye. First thing I'm going to do is add a little bit more of the citric acid to our dye pan, just to be on the safe side. Just tossing it in there. And I'm going to pick up the skeins that I've been soaking in the tub. I'm going to add them in there, but I'm actually going to, twist them just a little bit. Just so that I get both sides of the skein, so to speak. So that when I add dye to it, didn't mean to kick you. I will have, I will hit the entire skein, or both sides of the skein, so to speak. All right, that's 2. And the third, and I'm just squeezing out some of the water to not make a huge mess. So, and the last one. There we go. Now let me move this to the side. All right. And now we need to remember which measuring cup is which, because they look very similar. You see that? So if memory serves me correct, that one is a true black, this one is just black. So let's start by adding some of the dye stock that is just black. There's a bit of purple in it as well. It will not be purple when it's done though. Okay, let's start off with that. And we're going in with the true black. I'm trying to leave some white spots or lighter spots to where I can add in the blue I intend to speckle with. I think you can see the difference in color now. See if we can get the last little bit in. There we go. Okay, turning on the heat and let it heat up, and we will add the blue in a little bit. Oh, just realized you can see what I did there. There we are. All right, so heating up the pan, and we'll be adding the blue in a little bit. Now I'm moving the pan about on the stove to make sure that I heat up everything. And I don't recommend you do this, but this is my method. And if you do it the same way, be very, very careful. I just dip my fingers in the water. It's absolutely cold on the outside here, so we're going to twist it like so. And as always, we're not meant to boil the yarn. It just needs to get hot all the way through. I'm moving the yarn about a little bit to spread the hot water to the parts where it's still cold. The outsides are quite cold yet. So I'm going to continue doing that for a little bit more before we add in the blue color. Let's see if we can sprinkle some blue in here and make that stick. And I'm just simply going to use my hands and pick some powder, using a glove, of course. I like it. I am getting that vibrant blue that I was hoping for. Let's hope it stays that way throughout the dyeing process. We will see. I am adding quite a lot of blue here actually, because I do want it to show off as much as possible. Where possible. So we'll see if we're able to exhaust this dye bath at all. We may not be. We shall find out. Okay, something like that. The dye bath is all hot all through now. We still have a lot of dye left to exhaust, and it's a lot more than we will be able to exhaust. I'm going to let it sit for a few more minutes, and I'm just going to set it aside and let it cool off, and it will continue to exhaust the dye in the water while cooling off. But again, I don't expect everything to exhaust because we used a lot of dye in this one. And I'm very excited to see what this will, if it will turn out as I'm hoping. Time will tell. Time will tell. I'm going to set it aside to cool completely. Please remember, always let the yarn cool completely before you rinse it, or you might shock it and destroy it. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back when it's time to rinse it. Time to rinse. I have added cold water and a splash of soak in my rinsing tub. You don't need to use this. You can use dish soap, shampoo, whatever you got. I like this one. I also got the small bowls in my web shop if you're interested. So, cold water, splash of soak, and moment of truth. Let's see what we got here. I'm quite excited. It has exhausted more than I thought it would. You see that? Water is clear. Yeah. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to just squeeze out some of the water. Try not to make too much of a mess while transferring the skeins. I think I got what I wanted here. I think I did. You see that? We got some light gray, we got some blues, and we got some black. Which is exactly what I was going for. Always pleased when I get things the way I was hoping to. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes we get happy accidents. But yeah, today we succeeded. of the way. I'm going to use my small soaking tub just to transfer the skeins into after rinsing. I'm just dunking it in the water like that. And here you can see the difference. You see these lighter areas. This is where we used only the black dye, and these black spots, black areas, are the true black that we mixed using 4 colors. So that is the difference. What happens when you're dyeing on a white yarn? If you use only black, you'll get a gray. So you need to account for that, the whiteness, and add in the other colors as well to get a true black. I got some residue in the water here, rinsing water, which is expected since I am dyeing with very dark colors. I'm just squeezing the water out, not wringing the yarn because I don't want to damage it. And here's the benefit of using the zip ties. It is so much easier to find the skeins in the water and to keep them apart. Now, using soak, you only need to do this once. I prefer to do it twice, and especially today since our rinsing water has a lot of excess dye in it. So I'm going to do that, and we will hang the yarn to dry. It's time for the finished yarn. Here it is. As you can see, I got blacks, I got several grays, I got the blue. So I'm pretty happy with this. However, the yarn did break. The black sometimes break in a bit of red and a bit of yellow orangey kind of color, which means when I added in the blue, you see that? It turned green on one of the skeins. But that's okay, I don't mind that. This is hand dyeing. These are things that happen, and you know, they will be, each skein will have their own personality, so I will see it more as a personality trait, simply. So yeah, quite happy with that. I'm sorry I got not too good of a lighting right now. Ooh, and the skeins want to get away from me. Can you see those? We do it like that. Maybe we'll just show one up close. Maybe that is easier. Yeah, there we go. We got the light gray, we got the black, and we got some lighter areas, and the blue. Yeah, very happy. It's a bit darker than what I usually go for. Well, sort of. I do enjoy black, for sure, and also gray, absolutely. But I do tend to go for, you know, quite the in-your-face colors. We know this about me, but I really love this one. I really love this one. It's nice to have something a little bit different. So now I'm going to go figure out what to make of this, because I need to make something of this right away. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll like and subscribe if you want to come along on this journey. There's a lot of stuff coming up that I hope you will enjoy as well. Got a lot of new video ideas. So yeah, But that's it for this week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
You got me feeling good, right about your side. Lost in every move, riding down your smile. Baby, hold me tight, let me trace your line.